people with the power. Every day, dollar just they get it higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder. Oh, yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make we shout. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my ego die the political. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, this one not day off in mind. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, my yegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, my yegun don't.
Hello there.
Awamo la mo do do do.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun awamo la mo do do.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará yìí.
Mayegun diary.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. Please take a moment to read the caption of the broadcast, the description of the broadcast. Take your time, please, okay? Then share the broadcast. Invite others, like invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them, Mayegun today.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ do.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
For today,
Lórí ìfẹ́.
happy holidays to those of you who are indeed having happy times. But we are not starting the broadcast tonight with you, because as you are celebrating your holidays, others are burying their loved ones. We are starting on that note. Sorry.
Ìjọ ìgbádùn yẹ.
Mayegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ìrẹsìdó bá rúfin o.
Mayegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun mami.
Plateau State, the middle belt part of Nigeria, has witnessed a never seen before genocide since the APC Egbekegbe came to power. Bloodshed. On the eve of Christmas, over 400 innocent people were slaughtered needlessly, unprovoked, by the armed Fulani terrorists. Barkin, Ladin, Boko's local government areas, over 40 communities were ransacked. Women, children were slaughtered. Thousands were made homeless. Over 200 buildings were razed down. Unprovoked, the jihad is not gone.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Mayegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràgì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé.
Mo ti dé. So good afternoon to you, good morning to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Máyégún live. I know that some of us are currently in joyous mood, happy with our families, having good time, being grateful for an eventful year, but still alive, and then getting yourselves and your families prepared for 2024. Well, the story is not the same in Plateau State, especially in the last 72 hours. Dear Governor.
While we were preparing for Christmas, these terrorists, these criminals descended on our people again in various communities. I regret to inform you that as at this morning, we probably have had a harvest of deaths in excess of 100. We have buried not less than 15 people in Mangu local government, and in Bokos, it's 100 and still counting, minus those who are missing that we cannot account for at the moment. Also, not less than 17 communities have been completely burned down, and those who survived are presently in IDP, in the temporary IDP camp, particularly in Bokos, and it's been a great tragedy. What have we done to be able to get to this point before this current crisis? We resorted to both kinetic and non-kinetic strategies. For the non-kinetic, we got into a lot of community engagements, trying to unravel remote and immediate causes of the crisis. We've been able to sit down at various levels with community leaders, and that worked. It worked to a large extent because they saw our sincerity. They saw our determination to change the narrative, that we didn't just come to have these discussions as usual, just for political correctness. We were able to get to some of the issues that really touch and affect people. But I must say that this recent action has nothing to do with farmers-herders clash, has nothing to do with religion. This is pure criminality. This is pure terrorism. This is just gruesome murder, on the eve of a revered day of remembrance. It's quite unfortunate.
I am very happy that from the governor himself, from his mouth, he said it is an act of terrorism, but it is historical. And tonight, we are going to go deeper into that. He says some other things before we continue.
I think while there may be seeming lapse, I think the way these particular attacks were coordinated was meant to really be on a monumental scale. At a point, we had distress calls from not less than 36 communities. And even though the reinforcements, some of the reinforcements came a bit late, we certainly, the responses were able to push back these terrorists. That what we are having now, as bad as it is, we can even say is damage limitation. And so there are many reasons for the slow response of security agencies. Part is the channel of dissemination, part is the terrain from which these distress calls are coming. And, sometimes when you have achieved relative peace, it's natural that you can relax. And so these terrorists looked for ungoverned areas where the security deployment was a bit light or absent. And that was where they started these attacks from. And before we could be able to get the reinforcements to the right places, a lot of damage had been done. I want to be very honest that the the GOC particularly, who commands both the 3rd Armored Division and the STF, I think with the kind of support he has had from the Army headquarters, he's been up and doing. And
nuisance leleyi.
He mentioned ungoverned areas in Plateau State. On Mayegun's Diary Politico, I have repeatedly told you that half, if not more than half, of what is today called the Northern Nigeria is controlled by different terror groups. And you see, these terrorists, they are known to the political class of that Northern Nigeria. Jos, Plateau State, Benue, Southern Kaduna. And then when you begin to look at all of that middle belt and part, historically, you remember when we were growing up and we were reading all these Macmillan books, telling us about Uthman Danfodio, Queen Amina of Zaria, what other names are those? And they will tell you that they were fighting their enemies. They were fighting, conquering, and they are fighting spirits. Sometimes they'll be fighting ghosts. How many of you, as kids, read some of those ridiculous stories after removing the history from the Nigeria library? They replaced them with fictitious glorification of genocidist, terrorist. Uthman Danfodio was killing people that he believes, the local people that he met in what is today's Northern Nigeria, he was killing them, slaughtering them, entering villages, burning them down, making himself the head of all those places. They brought them into the Macmillan Book of Children in Nigeria to glorify terrorists called Uthman Danfodio, a religious extremist, terrorist. Do you know the people they called his enemies he was killing? Christians, Kafirins, infidels, the supposed Nigerians, the locals in their own land, on their own land, who resisted him. It was the people of the middle belt of Nigeria of today. They were the shield that protected the rest of the southern Nigeria from 200 jihadists that the children of Uthman Danfodio today have deployed other means to weaken us from within. Just like Sekou, my brother, said last night, Abi, the middle belt, they have been the receivers. During the Civil War, the genocide of the Sharia North against the Igbos, they were able to convince the Middle Beltans who have resisted every trick in the book of this jihadists, starting from their great-grandfather, Uthman Danfodio. They stopped him. And they didn't just stop him. They stopped him with their blood, with their everything. And that was why every political means that they can get to coerce the people of Middle Belt, to make them believe that they are northerners, started kind of a wearing out when Bokwari and the Fulani terrorists unleashed terror on them. This is now like a monumental terror that is so different from the different historical terror they have suffered in the hand of Sokoto Caliphate, the internal jihadist, the descendant of Fodio. Because you know what happened? Back in the days, they were able to come together and resist them, fight them to death until they pushed them back to the conquered land of where you can call the Sharia North today. The difference this time, Bokwari decided to use the instrumentality of Nigeria to disarm them for the Fulani terrorists to kill them. And that was the moment of truth for most of the smart ones in the middle belt part of Nigeria today. It was the final stroke, stroke that broke the camel's back. They could no longer be deceived, to be made to believe that they are part of the North. But the jihadists within the northern Nigeria are exterminating them. Now, Boko Haram is deciding to disarm them for these terrorists. No, we are not northern Nigeria. We are middle belt. That argument started under Boko Haram, the moment of truth, when they realized that they were only sleeping with enemies who are indeed using what they call the takia. Takia is when you will see some of them that sound like they are educated northerners. And they will be telling you, oh, we are not in support of all these things, but you just have to make sure you respect the North for what the North is. What exactly is the North is? Is the North about terrorism? And who are those being murdered? Who are the people who are suffering the genocide? Take a look. They are the indigenous people of the middle belt part of Nigeria that haven't taken away their language to some extent. And they've made them to be speaking Hausa here and there. That is the language that makes them feel they want them to use that language to say, oh, we are one. We are the same one. While they are armed terrorists, known terrorists, Islamic jihadist terrorists are slaughtering them, taking over their lands. So in some of this part of Middle Belt that the Fulani terrorists have conquered and they've taken over, they've chased the indigenous people away. That is the place that their governor called ungoverned territory. Ungoverned territory are the areas where the Nigeria military, they don't go to. They know the terrorists are there. They know where they are. They know them. They know all of them one by one. They are like, they have communities. They are not ghosts. But the order from above is that nobody must touch them. Nobody. You don't go there. If you dare go there, you either lose your job or your life. And those who are working in Nigeria intelligence or military and the rest of them, they all know about this. But they are pretending. Why people are being killed and slaughtered though? One of them had this to say. Somebody who is also from that part of where this genocide just took place. See, just earlier this year, some of the people came together, right? And then they kind of formed their own vigilante to defend themselves. Okay? And they made an announcement of it. Baba, 3 days later, Nigeria military went there. They slaughtered all of them. They captured they took their pictures and they flaunted their images on social media that Nigeria military slaughtered over 200 terrorists. You killed people who volunteered to defend themselves, labeled them terrorists. To this day, Shebi they bombed a place in Kaduna the other day. That is making everybody talk, Abi. Baba, Nigeria military went to Plateau State. They slaughtered vigilantes who are resisting the terrorists, the Fulani terrorists. They killed them and they presented them as terrorists. Watch this.
MD Abdul Salam, he did incredibly well for 3 years. The history or the story of killings in battle, they came to a standstill. He was a soldier because he came and he called all the stakeholders involved and said he's there to do his job.
When you say call all the stakeholders involved, that means one thing, these are known people. They know the leaders of some of these people.
Very well, they are not hidden. The security agencies know them very well. We know where they are coming from. We know where they go to when they are attacked. That is not hidden. It's something that has been happening, and most of the times, the good Samaritan among the herders will call and say, these people are coming to attack. At times, the place they will say they were coming to attack, they won't go attack that area, they will go for any vulnerable place and attack. And these things have been happening. But the last one that gave us cause to worry was when Abdul Salam was transferred, not barely 2 months or 3 months that he was transferred. And unfortunately, he was transferred alongside with his deputy to IC. The new person that was brought did not know much about the area. And you know, it has to take him time to understudy the place, and the attack resumes. Within the space of 2 or 3 months, I'm telling you, in Barkin Ladin room again, Ladin room, about 20 villages have been attacked within this period.
You know, these are humans. We're not talking about cattle. We're talking about lives.
Human beings' lives.
And these are known people. And now, the whole essence why we're here and actually talking about this is to see that since these are not faceless people, these are known people, how we can actually stop these killings. Have you been able to start working towards that? You have a new governor, you're now in Abuja. What are the plans to see that this is over?
Well, it has been on news. Remembered about 3 or 4 weeks ago, our governor, with all the members representing Plateau State at the National Assembly, we followed him to military headquarters. We had an interface, and there was a prompt action to that effect. The security were beefed up, especially in Mangu, where the situation was so bad, and they are doing well. But aside that, killings are still going on. In Rio alone, as I said, about 12 villages have been displaced. Within that period, about 104 people have been killed. Even last week, as I said, in Barkin, precisely Hepang district, where close to my village, and the attackers came around 1, 2 p.m. I was here when I got a call. I have to leave Abuja as early as 6 o'clock to attend the mass burial. People of Hepang, about 21 people were killed within that period. Unfortunately, 7 were badly injured. We just lost 1 day before yesterday. So about 22 people have been killed. Aside that again, a village closer to that Hepang again is between the Jos Airport. Hepang is in Jos Airport, and we call the village Kui. About 2 teachers in community school again were shot dead.
Again, Peter Ibrahim, it goes back to what should be done, because I'm looking at 3 categories of persons here now: those killed, and we're talking about those injured, and those displaced.
Yes.
How can these first, in the first place, the bereaved families, the displaced, the injured, be taken care of then as the peace meeting is ongoing?
We've been trying our best, and I believe the governor too have been doing his own best. We've been paying bills in the hospital. But as you said, how can this be stopped? It's simple. If truly there's will to do that. These people are coming from a particular area.
Will from who? From what?
From the government.
The regional government or the federal government?
The federal government. These people are coming from 3 villages. They meet, come and attack, and go back to those places. These are no-go areas for any other person aside them. We have Fast Village, we have Guava, and we have Mahanga, we call them. If securities will be stationed that place, in those places, I don't think there will be any attack again.
Why do you say political will? Are these politicians or people backed by politicians?
I can't say it's backed by politicians because I'm not in a good position to say that. But the truth is, these are not hidden places. It's not a forest that you cannot see them. You can go around, if not for the rocky areas, within 30 minutes you can go around those places. But these things have been going on unabated. Who is shielding who? The highest thing the security agents could do is, anytime they come to attack, they have been repelled, and they go back to their safe, the place they call their safe haven. And nothing has been done about it. And the unfortunate thing too is, I believe the weapons these insurgent bandits are using, I don't know, I'm not in the best position to say that, but I believe they have more sophisticated weapons than the security that are there to protect the people. If you go and see the kind of ammunition they're using, or what we heard from the leaders there, because on a daily basis, people are living from hand to mouth.
So far, quickly here, so far, what's the military saying now that they've had some meetings with the community people?
Well, they're doing their best, but their best is not good enough. Because
are we getting collaboration or cooperation from the indigents?
Very well.
And information being shared?
Very well. You see, everybody's tired of this.
No, we all can be tired. Is there a move to meet with President Tinubu on this?
Our governor have met with him, and I strongly believe he gave directives, and that's why the STF are on it. But you see, Plateau is not just a village, it's a state. And until security operatives are well equipped to do their job, this thing will not stop. Secondly, you know, I was discussing with one military person, and when I heard about the salary of a major and a constable or other ranks, so they are not receiving up to 50,000 naira. How on earth do you expect these people to risk their lives? Look at what happened in Niger. How do you expect them to risk their life? Because there are times, most of the times, they come to attack in the night, and you know what it means for them to follow those terrain before they will go and repel those attacks. So strongly, I want to believe that if truly this issue, killings must be stopped, they should station security agencies in the 3 villages for about a month or 2. I strongly believe it will stop. I'm not saying the people living there are bad people. Not all of them are bad. We have criminals among, even the natives do. We have criminals among the Fulanis. But if truly their activities are being checked, it will definitely stop.
The truth of the matter is that he is not, even though he's an elected official, he is not bold enough to actually say it the way it is. So let me give you the backstory to all of this. The jihadists, we have been told, they wanted to be resettled in Nigeria. And this must be done by, this can only be done by the people in power in Nigeria. So when Boko Haram started their gimmicks and shenanigans, they started with, parting with our lands or our lives. While the citizens, the indigenes of a different part of Nigeria were rattled and kind of still wondering how they were going to deal with this. The criminal politicians from all this part of Nigeria as well, they were in on it. So it was easier for the criminals to perpetuate their jihad for the second time in a long time, in the most sort of a ganged up, coordinated way against the people of Nigeria. The interest of the people of Nigeria, which should have been the primary responsibility of the government of Nigeria, became secondary. So you are barred from even talking about the atrocities of this Fulani terrorist. So they went on and they got the protection they wanted, while they were going from unprovoked attacks from one village to another, from one village to another. So they they started forcing people, indigenous people, who usually would stand up against them and push them back and fight back. The government disarmed them. The terrorists started taking territory after territory, and they were making deals with the indigenous people of those places. Security deals. There are so many parts of this middle belt part of Nigeria, northern Nigeria, where you have the Christian communities that have already been like conquered, already occupied by these terrorists. People are paying taxes to terrorists in Nigeria because Nigeria government considered those areas as ungoverned area. So you that is living in southern Nigeria, so if you hear the word ungoverned area in Nigeria, how does that sound to you? The ungoverned area in Nigeria are the areas where Fulani terrorists have taken over. Military don't go there anymore. Police don't go there anymore. Nobody goes anymore. The people there, they are now at the mercy of the terrorists. After they have slaughtered their men, women, children, whoever are left, they turn them to their slaves. They're paying taxes to them. This is happening right now as you are watching this. So when a chance presented itself, I believe the people of Middle Belt, they decided to grab it. They rejected APC, Egbekegbe, Muslim ticket. And for the first time, they didn't do that by going the other way, PDP. They went straight with the obedient. They rejected PDP, they rejected APC, but the system, the corrupt system in Nigeria, continued, okay, to force them back under this criminal element, including the PDP governor that just spoke there. They will remove him very soon. In their protest against what they have suffered, the people of Middle Belt, what they have suffered in the hand of the jihadist APC, Egbekegbe, they understand the Muslim ticket more than the rest of you, especially you, the wannabe jihadist from Western Nigeria, the Ronukus. The people of Middle Belt understands the jihadists called Northern Nigeria more than the rest of Nigeria. So when they saw Muslim ticket, they didn't blink. But what did the system do? The system forced them to remain. And that is why what just happened now. And with what will still happen is to what? It's like a payback time, like a punishment. The Fulanis are now saying, the people of Middle Belt, they disobeyed their sheikhs. You disobeyed our sheikhs. You did not allow the advancement of Islam in Nigeria. That means you are enemy of Islam. So because you stood against the order of our sheikh, Muslim, right? You will pay. Not because they have the capacity to make them pay, but they know with the government of Nigeria, the people who are supposed to stand up and defend themselves, the military of Nigeria will kill them. And the terrorists can walk in the middle of the night, start burning the houses of armless people, and they will begin to record all this. And their media will tell you, over 100 bodies. They will turn you to statistic. They won't even be able to name each person that dies. They will say over 100 people, over 200 people. So they Nigerians are just made to sit duck, wait for the terrorists. So in this case, the people of Middle Belt, they are about to see the greatest attack that they've never seen before. And I remember this. They were so sad that Nigeria cheated them. You know what they could have done? I'll tell you something. Why many of them believe that Peter Obi won the election. They believe that if it was Peter Obi, number one, the military will not need any political will to go after terrorists. They believe that. And they gave it all. Sure you get. You remember this man?
Hello, my name is Magnus Oraka. Right now, I'm a very, very wounded person now. In fact, this country they call Nigeria is rubbish. This is the most useless country that my papa and mama born me inside. The most useless country. Most useless country. But a few people make this country useless. Very, very useless country. Plateau result, where Peter Obi sweep. Where Peter Obi sweep, now they tell say, Labour Party 460,000 APC. That means Peter Obi manage win. That's a big lie. INEC. How many times I call you now? 2 times. Make I add one, make it be 3. INEC. Okay. We will come bomb the office down. DSS, police and army, Mona can arrest me. In fact, I don't buy mattress where I go to sleep for any prison. I don't tell when I say, when I sell, prison cell, open and very big. Because the people you go arrest, they go plenty. People you go arrest, they go plenty. Plateau resort, 1.2 million, they got reduced to 400,000. A whole 800,000, they cut and come out. Say Peter be win with just small. Plateau State, come, get on, come, this poly unit here, this place, Sham, this place, now poly unit, make we enter, make we ask them, what is the result?
That they will return the figure.
No,
whether they like it or
not. Only here. Wait, now, they record on live. You don't live, Abi? No, put that line. Wait now, me when I don't talk before. No. Me when I don't talk. No. What will be the result for this polling unit? What will be the APC result for here? 27. PDP 36. Yes. Labour how much? 504. 500 only here alone. Only this place alone. Half a thousand. And so I personally went to each polling unit, about 30-something polling units.
They don't call the Plateau.
Yes, now.
They don't call them. You just tontona.
I personally went through over 30-something polling units, and each polling unit.
They don't call the.
For Plateau State, say now 400,000. Not maybe 1.2 million.
They just tontona.
1.2 million. We want to this country. We want to. I swear to God, INEC. Make I be the first one of arrest. Come arrest me, oh.
Don't fire up.
I swear to God, you go arrest people there.
You go suffer for this town.
I tell you.
We are down my game, and there you go die. Make thunder fire you.
Make I go do my beer.
800,000 votes of Peter Obi in Plateau State alone was wiped clean off the plate. Did that not happen in Lagos as well? Where Kolu scored 147,000 votes in the whole Lagos. Peter Obi 980,000 votes, nearly 1 million votes. They wiped off how many again? Almost what? They now brought a Bokwabe Tifnumbu 560 something, Obi 560 something. So Obi now led them with just about 9,000 votes. You saw all of that in Rivers State, where Tifnumbu came distant third to APC, Egbekegbe, scoring 97,000 votes. Obi 350,000 votes. In Rivers State of Wirewike, they wiped all of that away. They gave Tifnumbu 300 and something thousand votes. Then gave Obi 300 and something, 177,000 votes. Abi, you saw all of that to prevent all this madness. People who know the North very well, they put in everything. But Nigeria judiciary, INEC, they forced APC on them. They are going to remove their governor in the next few days now. They will remove him and give it to APC, Egbekegbe that lost the state, so that they can continue to open the floodgates. If they see you with catapult, they will treat you as a terrorist, while the terrorists are walking about with machine guns, war guns. And once they carry out all the massacre, they move back. Excuse me. And everybody will begin to go and visit who? They were in Lagos earlier, visiting Kolu, to come and commiserate with Kolu because of the people that died in Plateau State. Where is that their useless visit again? I think I had it earlier. Ignore that. So Kolu is in Lagos, as you all have seen some of them visiting there. The governor of the state where this slaughtering took place is saying that they are doing meetings. I told you. So what the politicians are resorting into is that, okay, let us make deal with them so that they will not kill us. To ask them, what do they want? Because from when it comes to Abuja, the deal, if Tifnumbu want to remain there, is to just what? Just look away, because we believe that you are likely not going to protect us like that of Bokwari. But as it stands, it is from where Bokwari stopped that Tifnumbu is continuing. Somebody said that the Yorubas, in fact, hang on, it was Sekula, brother, who said yesterday that that's the reason why they have made you believe that the Igbos are the enemies. The Igbos are the threats, because the Igbos are the only people who understand their Islamization agenda, and there is no way it's going to be sugar-coated, whether an Igbo man is the president, Yoruba man is the president, Fulani man is the president. A very, very intelligent Igbo man knows that none of this will stop the agenda, the Islamization agenda of this rogue, because they have lived through all these schemes. And they are the greatest example of the divide and rule of the jihadists called the Fulani terrorists, and their, and their rulers. That the Igbos are the threats coming to What is because they have been the only one who have genuinely, without any sort of what do you call it, any hidden agenda, they have been the one who have genuinely stood against these jihadists and what they represent. In order to isolate them, they created states. And in the states, they started cutting out indigenous Igbos. They are cutting them down to other states, creating states in a way to make them look smaller. But nevertheless, they continue to be that serious headache as it is. So, when their politics of division, Muslim tickets, which was pretty much unsellable, they decided or resorted into ethnic politics, remember? As they were fighting the people of Middle Belt over religious politics, they were building the Yoruba versus Igbo ethnic politics. Do you know, before I even continue, how many of you here watching me right now knows that this Igbo versus Yoruba and all this nonsense that you read out there is politically motivated? How many of you here, or how many of you believe that the Igbo versus Yoruba hatred and divisive rhetorics that you see everywhere, since this APC, Egbekegbe, invested so much in that, how many of you believe that they are real? Raise up your hand. Do you believe it's real? Okay. And then do you believe, how many of you believe that it is politically motivated and only dons would actually act on those divisive, what do you call it, rhetorics in real life? Do they actually exist in real life? They are working so mad to make it look real. And they, okay. So APC, Egbekegbe, the Lagos Abobakus, the Oshogbo Alimajiris, some of them, they have no idea. They have no, Satnav cannot take them from Lagos to their village because there is no road there. And some of them, when you get to those villages, they are not numbered. So, but there were those who are more vocal. In a supposed one like Nigeria, an Igbo man said he wants to be president too. All hell let loose by the ignorant minute few who started shouting Yoruba Ronu, the Ronuku or Ronu Nazis, the Agbado Mighty. Majority of them, no, they don't see. Satnav cannot take them. They can't put Satnav on their car and drive from Lagos to their village. There is no road. Some of them, they can't even identify where their family houses are in anymore. Majority of them, if they tell you that they are proud Yorubas, Yoruba this or that, ask them where did they come from in Yoruba land. And ask them, in 24 years of democracy, can any of them actually live in the same, you see, some of them live in Lagos. Forget about everybody living in their face me and face you and the rest of that, okay? All those, we all know Lagos is a slum. Fine. But ask majority of them, when they go back to their different states, how is the development there? How are the roads there? What about the schools there? What can they all live in the same village? That same proud village that the likes of Tifnumbu, those, see, listen to this. Since 1999, Yorubas have been in charge of the Yoruba land, the 6 states in Yoruba land. Yorubas have been governors. Yorubas have been commissioners. Yorubas have been lawmakers. Yorubas have been contractors. Yorubas have been in charge of that place for 24 years now. Same thing with the Igbos. For 24 years, all of the 5 states of Igbo land has been in control of Igbos. You understand? From governor, senator, reps, and the rest of them. Okay? But we all know that we are all victims of all this mismanaged, marginalized Nigeria. We all know that our people are suffering in the midst of plenty from every part of Igbo land or Yoruba land. And we all know those who have had the chance, who have had the chance to be around that prosperity. Well, how much of this political prosperity are the Yoruba people exposed to in the last 24 years? How much of this political prosperity are the Igbos exposed to in the last 24 years? Then, okay, shouldn't our life be better than the life of the Igbos? Because we have been more exposed to the political business of Nigeria in the last 24 years. If it has been in the interest of Yorubas, we should have been so better. Our roads should have been so great. We should have all these standard hospitals. We should have built like many Lagos across Yoruba land by now. We should have recreated our wealth. The lives of our people would have been better, right? But they are not. The criminals who are parading themselves as wealthy people in Yoruba land, they are politicians. They have no businesses. The real ones who are running their businesses, they are being affected. They are dying like everyone who is running his own business from other part of Nigeria. The richest people in Yoruba land today, they are politicians or those who are related to them. The real people who were supposed to create wealth, they are drowning. They are dying in Yoruba land. If you go to Igbo land, the richest people in Igbo land today, they are not the politicians. They are not the government contractors. They are not politically exposed people. They are businessmen and women who exist in every part of the world, but they come from a place that Nigeria has politically arranged, right, to look like it is, people who have been caged people. It is a place that nobody wants to leave. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now? Because when they started their 2023 charade, they were calling the intelligent, hardworking, right, Yorubas, they were calling them Omoale.